What were your first thoughts?
My first thoughts, I say, it looks all very professional, very colourful. I know what the paper is called. I can. The font is really good as well. Um, the titles stand out. There's some good advertising, some good lead stories there. So
Okay,
yeah,
do you
very
like
good.
the name of the newspaper?
The Post Portishead. Yes, Post Portis. It's almost alliterative.
Okay, and what do you think the age bracket is for this newspaper?
Ooh, the age bracket. Ooh, probably my age bracket. I don't know, 35, 55, something like that.
Cool. Do you think there's enough story detail?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Do you think there should be a logo?
No, because I think the Post Portishead is logo enough.
Okay, are there enough pictures and adverts?
Yeah, I say the pictures are very good actually. Adverts, there's quite a few there, so yes, very good.
And would you change anything?
No, I don't think so. So it's all very good.
Thoughts?
Nice bright front to it. You can see there's lots of adverts. Yes, appealing. I would want to read it.
Do you like the name?
The Post Portishead. Yes, I do.
What age bracket would you say it would be?
Ooh, I would say late 20s upwards.
Okay. Do you think there's enough detail on the stories?
From first look, yes.
Do you think there should be a logo?
No. Don't think it needs it.
Are there enough pictures and adverts?
Very much. Yes, I wouldn't have any more.
And would you change anything?
No, I like it. It's to the point and it's easy to read. So for me, it's very appealing.
During my time making my coursework, I carried out some pieces of audience research and feedback. I made a survey for my final product regarding their opinions on the product. I then chose to film some of the responses of the people that didn't do the survey online. When I was conducting my audience research, I had to look at local newspapers to understand what I wanted to achieve. I emailed around a survey to see why people read newspapers and when they bought them. This allowed me to look further into what I should include in my newspaper and how to target certain audiences. From this, I then made surveys and the results helped me make my newspaper. My audience feedback was very helpful. It helped me decide how I want my newspaper to be structured and how much text to include in the story, what stories people read, and why people read newspapers. The first question I asked and got feedback from was, when do you buy local newspapers? This led me to the same answer as the majority of people buy them on Monday and Friday and Sunday. This allows me to change my format of my newspaper, as on weekdays, newspapers could be more formal and include stories which have more significance. However, if they're bought on a weekend, I can have more freedom with what to include, as they're less informal. Also, by making them less formal, stories on the weekend allow readers from any audience to feel relaxed when reading it. The second question I asked and got feedback from was, where do you read your local newspaper? This question helps me to know how much information to put in the story. For instance, people on their commute to work might want smaller stories with quick pieces of information. So I would have to focus more on news and brief stories on page 2, rather than having longer stories for those who read it at home in their spare time. By them having longer stories, it allows more freedom for writing them, as there is no limit to how short it has to be. Also, it means that they will have more time to read the newspaper at home, and therefore allows more detail to go into the stories, which means there would be less news and brief stories. I found a very small number of people to read I find a very small number of people who read newspapers while they're at work. If more people read them at work, I would have made more stories to be bulletin-like, as it still provides a lot of detail, but it is shorter and easier to get information from. The third question I asked and got feedback from was, why do you buy local newspapers? By asking this, it allowed me to see what draws people to the newspapers and how interesting they find the stories on the inside pages. Therefore, it lets me focus on what stories I want to feature and adverts to include inside when I make my newspaper, so I can keep the readers interested and keep it conventional. These findings will help me to develop my newspaper, as it has helped me to focus on what to include in my stories. Also, by finding out all of this information, it helped me to make a decision on what style of font I want and how I should have my masthead, due to the type of people reading my newspaper, as I can see why people will buy them. This means that I need to make something for my audience to enjoy and they won't find boring, but also I need to keep it light-hearted for the people who read the newspapers on their commute to work. When creating my stories, I decided to write about some of the following stories below, as I wanted to target my audience, which is ages 30 to 60, to be interested in reading them, and I can also allow a possible younger demographic to read them. These stories include local stories which focus on the success of the town and how they're becoming successful to compare to other local towns. For example, Portishead in bloom, major wins and successes for local sports teams and charity fundraising, and local shops being broken into and how they've recovered since.